Ghost Cult Magazine welcomes in the guys from Mastiff. How are you guys doing?
Very well, thank you.
We're cool, thank you.
Great to see you here on the eve of your upcoming new album. If you won't mind, just really quick, introduce yourselves for a second so we know who's who when you guys talk.
Hi, I'm James. I play guitar in Mastiff.
And I'm Jim, and I grunt and scream in Mastiff.
Very apropos. You do grunt and scream. Leave Me the Ashes of the Earth is the new album, comes out September 10th. And I've been lucky enough to jam this thing out for a little while, getting ready to chat. And what a beast this record is. I would expect no less, but it is definitely like the fully formed band we've been expecting to get. You guys have really grown over time that we've been lucky enough to follow you. And so, yeah, thoughts on the eve of your new album coming out?
Thoughts? I mean, I don't know. Thank you for all of that, by the way. That it's always nice that we've not just made people angry without. I mean, we want to make people angry, but like nice angry. So you're nice angry, and that's good. I don't know. Like, what do we say?
It's been a long year.
Yes,
it's been a long year, and we can't wait for people to hear it. And I know every other person says it, every other band says it, but yeah, we are stoked for people to get their ears blasted by it. So
well done. They are going to get their ears blasted by it because there's a little bit of an intro that kind of is a false lull, like a lull you to sleep kind of thing, and then karate chop to the throat the whole way.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was
the whole way.
Yeah, that was the plan. Lull people into the false sense of security. We even did the sneaky trick of it starts quieter, so people will be like, turn the dial, and then the second song hits them, and it's like, ah.
Yeah, what a relief that we're in this. Just randomly, what a relief that we're in this era where I think we are done with the overproduced, super loud records anyway. Where we're getting back our dynamic range. I don't know if anybody's an audiophile or a super nerd like I am about this shit, but like for many years, all these metal records were just way too loud and not forgiving of the genre, especially this is really sludgy underground shit that I like personally, and doom and sludge and stuff. So yeah, I'm like really, oh wow, there's dynamics here in the writing, but also in the producing.
Yeah. That's all the credit that goes to Joe, who recorded the album for us, and obviously James Plotkin, who mastered it. Like they sort of shaped the horrible mess that we made into something like semi-listenable. So yeah, credit to those guys.
Right on. It's been, I hate to harp on this, but it's just kind of hard to look away from it. It has been a terrible time in the world in the last couple of years, and we still need upsetting music to feel better. At least I do. I'm sure you guys, you seem to be all smiles right now, but clearly there's some musical stuff driving you. There's some extra musical stuff driving you to make this music. It's definitely a reflection of our times.
Yeah, I think that's fair. I mean, we've kind of said it before, but I guess it bears repeating. It's because it's always true. The reason that we can sit here and sort of smile when we chat to people like yourself is that we have this band as the kind of dumping ground for all of the negativity that we sort of store up in our heads, especially in the last couple of years. It's music is like the sort of the best therapist in the world, and especially like playing it for us, it's really important for the five of us that we have this kind of just this like giant trash bin to like throw every bit of hurt and hatred and disgust that we sort of absorb from the world around us, and we put it all in that, and it means that we get to walk away
don't take it home
whistling and happy, and and hopefully like other people will then hear what we did and they might connect to it, and through listening to it at an obscene volume they might feel a bit better about the garbage that they've had to put themselves through, or that they've been forced through for however the last day or week or year or whatever.
A lifetime.
Yeah.
I know you guys have not been, at least in my experience, not ones to really over-explain the songs themselves or the meanings lyrically and things, but there's definitely some very compelling stuff here in terms of, again, addressing the current world we're in, just personally, inward and outward. If you care to share any thematic ideas, I'm down. If not, that's also cool. if you want to leave it a mystery.
No, there's a couple on it that, you know, there's a Midnight Creeper on it. It is a track that is based on an ex-friend of ours who was a very good friend to all of us, and then turned out to be a horrendous shithead. So yeah, so we you know, and that's putting it mildly. But yeah, we thought long and hard about doing it that way and writing it, and that's what came out. So yeah, that one. And then there's a couple of I don't know, politically charged songs, I suppose, but not. I mean, I'm not. I personally am a massive political person at all, but yeah, you always get dragged into the mire somehow. Yeah, I suppose it's not quite. This album isn't quite as personal, I guess, for me. I went through a lot of shit with Plague, or prior to Plague coming out. So yeah, that was why that was very personal, and I just wanted to keep that to myself. So this one's not as bad, but it's still got a lot of, you know, negative stuff left on there, I suppose, the cathartic feeling. So yeah.
Also, some clever verbiage there on songs like Beige Sabbath and Lung Rest.
Yeah.
I love some of the wordplay. Oh, lost the light there.
Yeah. Oh,
very good stuff there. Oh, there we go.
Here we go. We're back. Yeah, thank you. Yeah. Yeah, we've been bracing ourselves for people to ask about Beige Sabbath, because that's it's a statement that could be very easily misconstrued. I think we don't want people to think that we're like ragging on Black Sabbath, because
no,
you know,
not at all.
We're in a band that borrows at least some aspects of Doom, and you know, all roads of Doom lead back to Black Sabbath. But yeah, it was that song's more. It was more kind of, I guess, a critique on people that kind of missed the point of Black Sabbath, and you know, the sort of wider thought of, you know,
Black Sabbath were the groundbreakers for so many years, and then not that they gave up, but they almost feel, certainly the last album, you feel like they're just almost sat on the laurels. But then it's not even about Sabbath particularly, it's about a lot of
just I guess
genre of the Sabbath worship. It's not busting doors open, it's not what we're about, and you know, and that's why we, you know,
yeah, we could, it was the, yeah, we got angry for a moment about I don't know, I guess we try really hard to, like, obviously take a lot of inspiration from our musical heroes, but we try and kind of throw it in a blender and create something new with it. And I think there are, you know, no like detriment of any individual human beings, but just sort of, there are bands out there that they just kind of like, they just take a blueprint that was set for them
and go with it
40, 50 years ago, and then they're happy with that's it. That we'll just do that. And,
right on. Yeah. And I love a lot of that stuff, but also you're right, there's not a lot of growth there. And you know, it's just I find it fascinating that
well, we're both massive Van Halen fans, so
oh yeah. Yeah, like you can't tell listening to Mastiff.
Yeah,
no, I know. Although I think it'd be interesting to hear like a Mastiff style Van Halen cover.
We would love.
I'm just throwing it out there. The first one
is. I don't know if my vocal range, all my high kicks would come up to standard.
No, I think me and Phil would need to. I think we might need to do like Bill and Ted and like take like a trip into the future to like spend an intensive like decade learning to play the guitar better before we can even consider.
Well, like I said, like maybe a doomy like sludge Van Halen, but
yeah, we could do that.
You know, yeah, why not? I feel like you know, I said right before we started here, for a long time, I think fans of you guys felt like you were like our little band, and not again. I wish the greatest success for you guys completely, and it looks like it's happening. But did you feel any pressure, like, oh wow, everybody knows who we are now? It can't just be this underground band that much. It's still underground, but Do you feel any pressure? Did you feel any coming into writing and recording?
Kind of. I think again, like, you know, sort of Plague, the last album, was quite, you know, well received. I mean, it didn't, in terms of like being a small band on a relatively small record label in the UK without a great deal of like international press or, you know, exposure, it did okay for us. But
it did amazing for us.
Yeah, and like on like the playing field we were on, it did great. But people, like, even if it didn't sell like bucket loads, people were really nice about that album. And so I guess when we started writing what ended up becoming Leave Me the Ashes of the Earth, it was the first time really as a band that we felt any pressure, and it was all like internal pressure. It wasn't coming from anywhere else, but you know, we had pressure on ourselves to kind of prove that wasn't an accident, and that we could make another album that people would connect to, and it wasn't just, oh no, that's it, you had that one and then you shit the bed and had no idea.
We don't want the 15 minutes. We didn't want Plague to be the 15 minutes of fame.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, to us, we're still some shitty little band from, you know, a shitty little northern city in England, but obviously people like yourselves, when you're feeding it, you know, giving us stuff back like this, and we suddenly go, oh, okay, maybe
people might be paying attention now. Yeah.
I feel you. Yeah, I mean, we've been paying attention. Like I said, Ghost Cult has a hand in Europe and always has and always will. We started as a zine in the Netherlands to cover like Roadburn and Desert Fest and Incubate, Rest in Peace, and things like that, and Into the Grave and stuff. And now we're here, you know, I kind of took over in the middle of year one, and so we have quite an American team too. But we're still like very plugged in. Actually, I say this all the time. You know, like I would never cover, if I didn't need like attention to my socials and my website, I would never cover any of the butt rock and stuff that we cover. And I would only cover like this underground, you know, hard music, because that's what I love personally. But like, unfortunately, people always want to know what Corey Taylor is talking about, who I love, but like people want to hear, you know, people want to hear about Five Finger Death Punch. People want, they like these bands. So like,
and you've got to put food on the table. So.
I don't know if it's putting food on the table, although I don't look like I missed a meal for sure. But no, like my preference is to like, we started, like a band like yours is the reason we started this thing, because like we were like, oh, there's a lot of people not paying attention to these great bands. And I would say, in the time that I've been a journalist, which is longer than Ghost Cult has been around, I have seen this, you know, obviously every scene has peaks and valleys. The UK right now is churning out some of the most crushing best music in my life, including like the early days of metal. So like, there's just such a wealth of bands right now. What do you think, can you attribute it to? Not just you guys, but I mean, I could rattle off a list right now that would be as long as my arm.
I mean, I don't know, I mean, you know, it's different. As small as the UK is, obviously, relative to like the States, there are still like quite a disparity in vibe, depending on which sort of major city you're in. So you know, you'll find certain trends might pop up here and there, but I guess if we're trying to like focus in like nationwide, what happens here? I mean, there's a lot of, I guess, particularly in like the north of England, where we're from, and up into Scotland and stuff, it's still, there's a very sort of strong like working class background for a lot of people, and you know, and that's the kind of, that sort of like collapsing industry set dressing is that's where bands like Black Sabbath and Led Zeppelin and, you know, came out, and like Napalm Death and Carcass all came out of in the sort of 70s and 80s, and it, you know, that continues for us to this day. I mean, a lot of the bands that we're friends with, that we regularly play shows with, are all from, if not like, you know, geographically you know, the same place as us. They come from a same kind of psychological place. They come from a same kind of background, and you know, it's I guess to a degree that's where a lot of like pissed off heavy music comes from. You find that a lot of the bands in the US, you know, that sound the most legitimately angry are the ones that come from these kind of backwater towns or these cities that are kind of collapsing in on themselves, due to like, just like industry falling apart, and
people just want to get away from it, don't they? So I think, you know,
Yeah, it's a life that makes people want to scream and makes people want to just like reduce the walls around them to rubble. And we certainly, that's kind of where we come from musically, and that's where a lot of our peers and our friends sort of pull their energy from as well. And I think that's what's happening here. Is it's just, especially in the UK, we've been under like a conservative government for over a decade now, and you find that the vast majority of heavy bands are more kind of liberal, left-leaning, thoughtful people that are just sick of the way that our country's being
pillaged.
Yeah,
and pillaged monetary wise, and every other reason.
Yeah, and again, like Jim said, we're not really a politically motivated band, but you do, if you're even remotely responsible, thoughtful adult, you absorb it to a degree, and you know that informs your worldview. So there it is. That was a ramble. Sorry.
No, that's good. I would say, like, I had predicted, like, I was like, after this last 4 years in America and 10 years out there, we're gonna have like a wave of 80s anarchy type of bands where we're just very hostile and focused. And it doesn't seem to have happened here. I think we're getting very lackadaisical here in the States and not as motivated angrily enough for me. But over there, I'm seeing like a lot of brilliance and a lot of just like smart, dedicated, furious, anti-fascist, anti-racist, great bands that are just like, fuck all this. And I couldn't be happier about it. And I'm happy to give my web pages space to you guys whenever possible.
Yeah, I mean, we're very, very, appreciative that there are people all over the world shining a bit of a light on our little country and on the sort of bands that we love and we care about and that we're friends with. So yeah, it's awesome.
Puns, you have them. Let's talk for a second about this very distinctive artwork. It does look like an urn, but it also could be like a I'm going to say this word incorrectly because I say words incorrectly. Reliquary. Nope, I said it wrong. A relic to house things in, maybe not necessarily ashes, but something ancient, something ominous. So I wanted to ask about that artwork. Sorry for my vocal poke.
No, fine. It is based on an urn from I can't remember where he said it was from now. There's a story behind it and I can't remember what True Milk designs.
Basically what happened was we've always, all of our releases up until this point, we've kind of like done everything ourselves. Dan, our bass player, is like a good, he's a good visual artist himself. He's good at sort of piecing things together to make them look cool. But even before like E1 were part of the conversation, we kind of felt that this album needed it deserved a bit more attention, a bit more, effort into like every aspect. And so we started sort of looking to outsource the artwork, and we chatted to this guy who is based in Brighton on the sort of southeast coast, called True Spilt Milk Designs. And we basically just gave him the album, and not really even that much of a sort of explanation. We just sort of gave him the album and said, look, like,
this is what it's going to be called.
This is the title. Here's the record. You come back to us with a visual representation of what you think this album is. We're open to whatever you want to do. We didn't give him a brief. We didn't give him any rough sketches. We just, you're the artist. We trust you. Show us something. And he came back. It was literally, I think, like, it was the first thing he sent us back was just like a rough, well, I say rough. It was still like a very intricately like drawn piece, but basically just like a really rough version of what ended up being the album cover. And we just instantly were like, you've captured it. Yeah,
and there is, like you said, there is a backstory to it. It's a genuine relic of an urn and I can't remember. I wish I could. Yeah, I should have done my homework a bit more.
But yeah, we saw it, and especially when we got the finished version, and it's, our music's quite full on, and we sort of appreciated that the piece. He didn't go like full like Dan Seagrave. He didn't come back with like a tormented hellscape full of demons and stuff. It was just this really kind of stark, moody, minimal, just this sort of stoic and sort of mysterious thing. And just immediately we're like, yep, that's it. That's the cover.
He even got the colour right as well on the first take. It was just like, oh man, he nailed it.
I think literally the only note we gave him was that we asked him to move our like M logo up to the top of the instead of right in the middle. That was it.
Yeah.
Yep. It's very subtle, but it's in there at the top with the little upside down cross, little in there, little wink in there. It's wonderful. We'll link that artist in the description of this along with all your stuff too, your sales and your socials like we like to do. But man, it's a killer record. And like I said, this fall's crowded with killer records, but I'm super excited for you guys. What's it been like for you guys? Have what's the environment like? I know we just had Bloodstock, which we covered. And I know there was the download pilot. Obviously other things did not happen this year, Black Deer download itself, but like, how do you guys feel about kind of getting back out there? Live is kind of what you do,
Yeah.
We've played 3 shows so far this year. One was socially distanced, and that was in the biggest room I think we've ever played. Unfortunately, like we say, it was socially distanced, but the sound system and everything was just holy shit. And then we've played a couple of smaller gigs now, where the first one people were still very on edge about coming out and mingling, but then we've only just played last Saturday. We played one and it was nuts. It was people back jumping on each other, proper hardcore show. It was great.
Yeah. And I mean, we're just like you said, we as much as we enjoy making albums and we are very excited about people hearing this one, we are a live band at our core. It's why we record the way we do. It's why we still, the bare bones of all of our albums, more than the bare bones of everything up to now, but even the new one, it's still just kind of us stood playing in a room together, and then we maybe sort of get to embellish it a little bit, but we like, it feels best when we're all just in a room playing together, and especially when there's other people there to observe it and join in.
I mean, the closest we get to computer, like some bands write on computers and send each other emails with it on. The closest we get to that is probably grabbing a guitar sound or a riff on, on one of your WhatsApp or something like that, and then send it across to the rest of us. Well, that's pretty much it. There's you can't beat playing in a live environment and working out a track in a live environment.
Right on. I always say it's whether it's the show or making music in person, there's that intimacy in any guitar-driven music, in doom and sludge and hardcore. The togetherness is the thing, whether it's the audience in front of you, whether it's you guys alone in a room. And that's the thing, that's an intimate music. It knows your pain, it knows how to make you better. And we can't really do it. I mean, like, there are great people out there making records, right? And again, there are plenty of people who are like, oh, we just can't do this in this environment. Like, this is going to
totally
us. And I'm cool with that. I'm not judging I'm not gatekeeping or judging anybody. No. I'm proud of you guys, and I'm equally hopeful that anybody else that couldn't work during this time can get back to it as soon as possible, because this is all what we have and what we love. But it's the same thing with a show. It's like the intimacy of that environment. We can't get it from any place else. So we have to start feeling hopefully safer and freer as soon as possible. And you, like I said, I like to say, I'm fond of saying, when you yell into a stick, as you do, in front of people, and you want people to grab the mic, you want to feel comfortable and not am I gonna get sick from
but
this?
I'm cool with it. I don't mind people grabbing the mic. Do what you like, make as much noise as you like. Just be safe for yourself and others around you, because not everybody feels the same. You gotta check it. And nowadays people are going to be it's going to be different for audiences, just like it is for us. But just respect what everyone else is thinking. So if you don't like it, stand at the back.
Exactly. Imagine the pomposity of people here in my country who are like, "Oh, my freedoms are being impacted by having to wear a fucking mask or protect somebody else who might be weaker than I." Imagine the privilege of these fuckers.
Yeah.
It's fucking aggravating so bad, and we're
It
heading to a
doesn't. I mean,
place.
you're not infringing anybody by putting a fucking mask on. It's not like you can't breathe through the bloody things. You still smell shit through them. So I mean, come on, you know, you're not. Yeah, and
Indeed.
everybody's entitled to their own opinions, but yeah, just let everybody live their own lives. And if somebody wants to stand at the back with a mask on, let them. If somebody wants to
Yeah,
stand
yeah.
in the pit with a mask on, let them. If you
Yeah.
don't want to wear a mask, that's up to you. So, but
Yeah.
just don't impose your thoughts on anyone else, just like the other way. But,
Indeed.
yeah, it's one of them things.
People misunderstand what actual freedom is, and they misunderstand like how lucky this is. If this is the worst thing in our lifetime, our parents and grandparents suffered through so much worse, and people are upset about these things. Like this is an inconvenience at best. Like, calm the fuck down, everybody.
Oh, totally. Yeah. Imagine being sat and then listening to an air raid siren going off. That's what my grandparents went through, and James's. So, because where we live, it was on the bombing run. So, Hull got hit massively. So when, like you just said, if putting a mask on is an inconvenience, it's up to you. But I mean, fucking hell, people have been through a lot worse, and they're going through a lot worse now.
So well said. So like, just really quick, what's on the horizon? The record's coming out. Are you guys going to be able to do some kind of show or any kind of fan engagement? Not quite a live stream, but anything with the fans you can do?
So we don't have anything. Oh, the light. Yeah, we plan on just sitting in the dark for a while. No, obviously, the record's coming out. We've got another singles coming out at the end of this week. So we're looking forward to people seeing that, because we made this new video and the last video for Repulse where it's like one long continuous story, which we'd never even made a video that had any kind of narrative before. So we just thought, fuck it, if we're gonna do it, let's overdo it. So we're looking forward to that coming out on Friday. It still doesn't feel real that the album's out next week, because it's 11 months nearly since we made it, 10 months.
Yeah.
So it feels like it's been a long time coming. We don't have like an album release show booked or anything, just because we wanted to do something at home in our hometown, and a lot of the venues here are still kind of getting back up on their feet, still wary about booking shows, especially kind of like hardcore shows. But we've got our next sort of major engagement where, fingers crossed nothing happens until then. We've got a UK tour in October with our friends in Caligram, which should be, if it all goes off without a hitch, should be amazing. Where, traveling the length and breadth of our fair country with them, and that'll be amazing. And hopefully at some point, maybe next year, depending on again how the world goes, we'd love to get on an airplane and come and play some shows in the States. But that's
and the people at Roadburn should be listening to this.
Yeah.
I bet they are. And I know that
the people at Roadburn and Damnation and Download and
Bloodstock.
If anyone wants to book us for Psycho Las Vegas next year,
I will send this right to Gav and Vicky, and we'll try to make that happen if we can help in any way. And Walter, I also have an email for him. So hey, we love all those places. We cover all those things. We'd love to see you at all those things. Of course, I would love to see you here and do this next time over some beers or coffee or whatever you guys like. And I wish you guys the best of success. I love to end these interviews with a wildcard question, so I have picked out one for you, if you'll permit me, which is I love to call this segment "Day Job for a Cowboy," and I like to ask people, what is the worst non-music industry job you've ever had as a young person or a young adult? What is the worst shit job you ever had in your life?
The worst shit job, I've got to be careful because I served my time for my uncle. No, the worst shit job was probably installing satellite dishes. The the guy wanted me to do about an 80-hour week every week. And it was horrendous, just a lot of driving. I mean, I don't mind hard work. I'm self-employed now, but it's just like, fuck me. He was just being an idiot, this dude. So yeah, that was shit.
Yeah. Not my first ever job. I think it was my second job when I was a teenager. I worked in a vegetable processing factory in a industrial compound. And my job was getting up at 3 a.m, trudging my way to a factory, peeling onions for 7 hours. Yeah.
That sounds horrible.
I did not smell good at the end of a shift. Did not smell good.
Did you cry a lot? Did you just uncontrollably cry all the time?
Yeah, because I love onions. I hate chopping them up.
Now, is it like when you had that one night out where you drank too much of a certain liquor, you can never see it again, and you get like PTSD from onions?
Sorry. Well, actually, I really love onions. I just made a joke, but yeah, I do really love onions. I'd cook with them a lot. No, they didn't leave any lasting trauma, but I did have to throw every item of clothing that I ever wore at that job away because you just couldn't remove that smell. And I only found out years later as well. I was told by my own dad that you used to stink really badly when you worked that job. Never mentioned it at the time. Thank you.
Neither of these are as bad as our bass player's daytime job, where he cleans toilets in public toilets. He's kind of. I don't think he even gets paid for it. I think he just does it because he likes being in the toilets. But anyway, that's a different story.
Yeah,
we'll have to ask him next time. Guys, Leave Me the Ashes from the Earth is this fantastic new record from Mastiff. Congratulations and thank you for making this music and keeping, staying on the path. It's been a bit of a road, and I'm really excited to see where it goes next for you guys. Thank you so much for hanging out with us, and stay safe and be well. We'll see you soon.
You too, man. Thank you so much, Kiki. Cheers.